Welcome back, guys. Welcome back to the YouTube channel. This is part two of the interactive session with my mom. So let's get right to it. So first question and part two of this interactive session is about marriage. What is it like to be married for a long period of time? Long time.
Alright, so we have been married since 1996. Marriage is when two persons, and in most cases they come from two different backgrounds. And when you do come from different backgrounds, then there are a number of times that there are times when you have some ideas that both persons will not believe in. So when it comes down to marriage, the word compromise comes in a whole lot. Because there are times when you will have to, forget about certain things that you would really want to do in order for, things to go smoothly. So being together for so long, it's quite rewarding, and I am so happy. I have no regrets, of having married to my husband for so long. But it's a thing where as it relates to living together, being a Christian really makes a difference in how we look at things and how things do happen from day to day. So I will never ever tell persons that it's a very easy thing. It's not very easy having to be dealing with somebody who grew up in a different parish, plus some of the values coincide, but there are some of them that were quite different. But in order for peace to reign at times, you have to make sure that selfishness is not a part of it, because if you're going to do things for with a selfish motive, it's not going to work. So if you do care for the other person, the person cares about you, then it will make life easier.
Yeah, marriage is no joke, as I said, pretty much, and to be married for over 20 years, it's astounding and it's very awesome. I've known persons who are married, and whether it's for 20 years or even longer. I know a person married for 40 years or over that. I was like, wow, and a lot would have happened within 20, 30 years, 40, even over 10 years, and all those things. And you have some persons who are married within a short amount of time, and you can sense they can go a long period of time because of how mature they be, and but how they look at marriage. And yes, in marriages you're going to have ups and downs within long period of time, and all those things. Adversity we hit at some point in marriages, and is where I believe some marriages fail, is because when things get tough, all of a sudden some persons become selfish. They do not some crazy things like cheating and who knows what, those type of things where it can end a marriage, or there's no trust, and you can have uncomfortable conversation with your partner. But like, if you can't have tough conversation with the person with, then it's like, why would you be with them in the first place? Because it's not going to be always giggles and all those things. So you got to be able to have tough conversation with a partner, and especially on a consistent basis. And if we can't do that, then it's like you can't tell them the truth, even just because, well, your friend may react a certain way, or you may get into an argument, which is likely when you tell the truth, but still, imagine you have to lie to them, you try to do a confrontation and so. Obviously you don't want to argue too much per se, but sometimes better to argue than not argue at all, and especially when the issues are there and
issues must be dealt with. That is why they have the saying that says teeth and tongue will at some point in time meet, because not everything that he believes in I do believe in. So at times you'll have to argue to your point to show that this is the right way, but at the end of it all, communication is one of the big keys that persons need to to be mindful of, because if there's no communication, then the relationship is not going to go anywhere at all. So communication is one of the things that person need to take, pay close attention to.
I mean, trust, communication is key, obviously, and trust is...
trust is another one,
trust is the most important thing of them all. It affects everything else. The communication, the conflict, if it happens, which is likely, and understanding the willingness to want to keep going in the marriage, who you with. If it's all of that, you take out the trust in it. And
trust is a very critical part as it relates to being with person, because if you are around friends and you don't trust them, then you're going to be watching them everywhere they go. You're going to be watching everything that they say. You're going to be looking to see exactly what they are doing, and that's, I'm telling you, if it's a case like that, it's going to take a lot of energy out of anyone at all to be behind person. Even for us parents, if you have a child and you have to be watching that child, it's going to take away from your time of productivity in order to be there watching. So trust is really, it's really a big deal as it relates to any form of relationship.
You can say if you don't trust, then you're going to do it. I've seen versus I hear stories of marriages, they do crazy things like tracking phone. I'm like, what is this? And then, or they'll burn each other's phone. I'm like, really? Like, well, I didn't know marriages can be like nuts, but I guess.
If you're dealing with another individual, it's not a very easy thing to do. And another thing, you have to have a made-up mind that, yes, I'm in it for the long haul. So, these are some of the things that you really have to take careful note of.
Yeah, you gotta have that, make up your mind mentally and say, you know what, I want to work this out in the long run, no matter what. Then it will affect you, it will translate in actions. When you want to do certain things, if you want it last, then you'll find a way to make it work by any means necessary, all those things. So marriage is no joke, and marriages and wedding can be a beautiful thing, that's for sure. So
you see, the thing is that the wedding is just the initial stage, but the marriage is the life that you live. So the wedding is a function, where a person will come and enjoy themselves and all of that. But the marriage itself, that is the life that you live at the end of the reception, So that is where, persons will need to take careful note of.
Now, before we go to this topic, if you're going to marry somebody, be mindful you're married with, because once you marry that person, a lot of times you're enjoying it, and everything comes with that person. The background, the personality, the whatever, and faith will attach. And if you're going to do certain things after the marriage, if you know you're going to marry long haul, do whatever. As long as you don't do anything that's going to affect the marriage and all those things, then. But other than that, you should be married who you're marrying and getting a relationship with, because once really attached, you're not just. Persons will be doing certain things where they're just. I am like, how can you just go around doing this and get so tired left, right, and center? You're having the energy come with the other person. If you're handling it, great. If you cannot, then I don't see the sense. But marriages can be nuts, but it can be a beautiful thing. It's a lot and all those things. So. How do you pull off having faith without worry on a consistent basis?
As it relates to worrying, it doesn't just happen like that, because at times when things happen, the first thing that comes to mind is to wonder, how am I going to get out of it? Or how am I going to get through it? So worry will come, but it's the extent to which you worry. So at times things happen, and I will sit down for a long while trying to figure out how it is going to, it's going to work out. So everybody worries, but it all depends on the extent to which you worry. If you're going to worry until you're hungry, you don't even realize that you're hungry, then that is a serious thing. If you're going to worry until you start having headaches, that's a serious thing as well. If you're going to worry until you can't even think about what you're supposed to do, But when things do happen, worse, if it's something that is down the negative street, then it is going to cause it to worry. But the Lord told us that worry and doubt is not from Him. So what happens is that in everything that we do, Satan will always present itself to come between whatever it is that we ought to enjoy. So the first thing is going to throw at you is start. You need to think about how you're going to get through with all of this. So I'm not going to tell anybody that I don't worry. I do at times, but the older I get, is the more I am learning not to spend too much time worrying. Because when you do worry, it's not going to help. When you do worry, you will not get a favorable result. It is going to be something negative.
I mean, whenever I heard first you or Daddy who say you guys don't worry at all, I'm like, are you not worrying at all? Or even your boss has said it, I'm like, what? And then a person said they can't complain, obviously, I'll be like, really? And then I'm like, how do you guys pull this out, make it look easy? I'm not saying it's easy per se, but don't get me wrong, anytime.
It comes over a period of time, it comes with maturity. Understand? Things don't just happen like that. Because there are some things that used to bother you in high school, and today is it still bothering you?
Not as much.
Not as much, right? So the older you get, the more mature you get, the more you realize that there are some things that you were not going to find time for. You realize that you don't find that time for it anymore.
Yeah, I mean, the bullying thing, I realized after getting into fights is not worth it. I said, you know what, I'm not going to get into more fights because you guys don't want to fight me. I clearly, and a lot of times my I'll fall right into dance. A lot of times you say what reaction from, I'll give it to them, and then I'll say, and then after I was like, okay, that's it. I'm not going to try to
and you realize that what it does is that it will waste your time. Instead of doing something productive, you have to be there thinking about them doing their thing. And please note that bullies, they are cowards. Bullies are cowards, and that is why they tend to want to override others with whatever it is that they choose to use to distract them. They are cowards. So if you ignore them, even as it relates to giving person a nickname, if you keep on answering them when they call you a nickname, they are going to continue to do it. But if you should ignore them, after a while, that name will not stick at all. So these are some of the things that we need to understand, that, just zone out some persons, just ignore them, and move on. And then you realize that you, on a whole, will become more productive in whatever it is that you do.
I mean, yeah, when I realized that, that's why I can realize me get to a point. I said, okay, I'm not doing this anymore because you guys are not going to do anything. I don't know why you're talking about punching me in the face. I will be like, if you're going to say you're going to fight me, let's get on with it. It's like, otherwise, I might have to take what you say with a great assault, because it's like, that's why after I was like, okay, not doing this, unless I have a reason, if I don't have a reason to fight, then I'm not going to do it, because you want to avoid fighting together still. But the reason it matters is, if I have no reason to do something, then why do it? It's like, I realize how a reason is. If I have a particular reason to do it, then if I don't, then I have my reasons to want to do what I did back in the day, and I was justified back then. But no, I don't see the reason to want to.
You're more material.
I don't see the point. So from that, I decided, okay, not doing this anymore, because apparently you guys are just wanting my reaction. And even one of the times then where I've been in class, history class one of the times, and it's what kept provoking me, and I had enough. I got up and I chased after he started running. And then after a while, during lunch break, I said, you know what, I'm not going to fight you, because it's like, from that, it's like, I already know what I'm going to do to you. It's like, and I don't want to do it, so it's like, let me not. But yeah, not worrying is, as you said, to a point where it's going to make you not realize some things. Then it's a problem at that point. You shouldn't make it worrying have to get to a point where you don't realize some things, like when you're hungry, or you can't think about something else, or whatever. Then it's a problem at that point. A little bit, that's about it.
The first thing that's going to, a situation presents itself, the first thing that's going to come to your mind is, how am I going to get out of it? How am I going to get through it? So worrying will happen, but it's the extent to which you allow worry to become, to consume you, that is when it becomes negative.
Yeah, that's true. What are the important factors for successful leadership? Well, yeah, in general, yeah.
Right, so it is said that a good leader must first be a good follower. So if you are not very good at following instructions and so on, then the leadership, you being a leader, is gonna seem very hard. But if you are somebody who would normally follow rules and so on, then being a leader, it will be easier for you to be able to instruct others. So being a very good leader, you should be able, first you have to make sure that you set examples. You're indeed a role model to those who you are leading. So if you're going to lead some person, telling them to do something and you are not doing it, then they will, point at you and say, how come you are not doing it? And you say, you want me to do it. So you have to be very much responsible, being a leader. In the leadership role, you have to be responsible. You have to be a role model. You have to make sure that you set examples. And being a leader also, you need to make sure that you are serving those who you are leading. So it's not just to, give instruction, you do this and you do that. Yes, you will have to delegate. Yes, being a good leader, you will have to learn how to delegate. But in the same breath, you have to learn how to serve those who you are leading.
As I say, you got to know to follow first, which that part is not easy to do, to follow somebody else. But if you know to do that part, then when the time comes to leader and you want someone to do opposite, then...
And follow in the sense of following instructions, You're at a certain position, and if each time they give you something to do, you're unable to carry it out, then, that will definitely be a problem.
Let's see. One of the things I do know about leadership is that selfishness won't work because, it won't work. I don't know how you want me to put it, but it won't work long term or in the short term even, because if you're trying, when you're a leader, you're supposed to serve others, not yourself. And if you're going to go the route of serving yourself, then nothing gets done, and you're going to get the most blame for it as well. So that's another thing why selfishness don't work, because when you're selfish, like I said, when you're a leader or being a teacher, those type of positions, you have to be selfless, and you have to...
You have to think about others.
Yeah, and if you do not know how to do that, then being a leader makes no sense, because... or even want to be a motivational speaker, even and stuff like that, you're trying to serve others pretty much. That's another leadership position as well, low key, even though it's not one of these things you get hired for. It's like when you're like motivate others, for example, and first looking to you to motivate them. Knowing how to motivate them is important, because everybody's different. They get motivated by different things. And as a leader, you can't lead everybody the same. That's another thing.
You have to understand the individuals they are leading, because we're all different. And there are times when you give instruction to one person and it works, but if you should try to another person, it will never ever work. So, you have to try to understand those persons you are leading as well.
Yeah, understanding is important as well. Trust is always going to be there as well to affect everything else. If you don't trust, then in my perspective, if I'm in a business and I don't trust you, I'm not going to hire you for what? It's like, it won't make any sense. Because if I don't trust you, then I'm going to question everything you do, and then it's going to be a conflict. But if I do trust you, if there's conflict in there, because I do trust your thing, we can find we're on the same page somehow to make something work, and as opposed to you don't trust the person. And as a leader, if you know you don't trust the person to do something, if you believe in them, and if they do make mistakes, and you believe they can bounce back from whatever mistake they make in your leadership, then take your chances with it. But if you know you can, then I don't think it makes any sense to give them a second. Well, if you know this is a second chance, then go ahead and give them a second chance. I mean, actually, it's good to give second chances as well, because as opposed to at times they mess up and then you don't even know chance to redeem themselves at all. Like when you do it like that, they get discouraged and now they're going to take it ahead.
And they can get worse, than where they are. So really and truly thinking about giving second chances, A number of us have gotten many second chances, so it's a good thing to consider.
Yeah, because like I said, the reason why you should give her a second chance also is that when you give them a second chance, you give them opportunities to bounce back pretty much.
Right.
I believe that it's actually okay to make mistakes indeed. When you just do it one time, you just mess up and you don't get any chance at all. After that, then in their mind they're like, oh, I guess one mistake is out type of thing, and that usually don't work. So the next time they go something else with the leading, not going to think ahead, okay. Now they're going to put pressure on themselves to not make mistakes at all, which is unrealistic. They're going to make mistakes along the way. So last thing you want to do is put anybody in a position where it's like they mess up one time, you can't get any chance to make up for it whatsoever. Even with something big, that is. Even with something nuts or something big. I mean, you ever say second chance it does so? No, do you have to be miracul who you give second chance to? Yeah, sure, because you do have some persons where you do different things with second chances and all those things, so it does depend, but you should give. In order to really know what a person really keep up, give them a second chance and see what they do with it. So, what are issues do you think persons has with persons with autism that always seem to be like the barrier between them, large barrier between us as specifically? Persons in the world, yeah.
Right, so persons who are not educated about how autistic persons behave will, in most cases, behave in a very mean manner. A number of persons, whether it is Jamaica, whatever it is, a lot of persons, because they don't understand the individual, they tend to think that they are stupid or that they don't know what they are doing. But bear in mind that the autism spectrum is quite wide. You have persons who are non-verbal and you have persons who are very gifted. So the persons who are non-verbal, they do not talk any at all. What they do, they will make sounds, they will make signs and all of that. And at times when we do have these students in the schools or wherever we go, and they start to react a certain way, persons may think that they are rude or they just want to disturb the place or they are noisy. So first thing first is that persons need to be educated to know that these persons, as I said to you, some persons are non-verbal while some are extremely gifted. Gifted in the sense that some things that will cause us years or days or months to do will take them a few hours and they should figure it out. Right? So if persons understand that, then they will not, treat person, they will not be a barrier as you have said in your statement. They will not be a barrier between you and them. So first thing, if you don't understand the person you're dealing with, then it's going to be a problem. So I think what we need to do, especially in Jamaica, is that we need to educate persons more. That when we do see, persons around, because it doesn't have to be children, it can be adults as well, behaving in a certain way. The thing is that we cannot diagnose persons. We'll have to go to the professional to get that done. But at least if we have an idea as to some of the symptoms, some of the behaviors, then it would lessen how we treat others.
Yeah, as I said, a barrier, because like I said, I realized this after a while, and I said the first video, it was not the fast talking, then it's something else. I'm like, fast talk obviously, but then at times I believe even like they talk slow in a way a person can understand, it's still a barrier there. I'm like, how should I communicate then? It leaves me stuck. I'm like, okay. So knowing when to length it out, explain in details, I want to shine it. It's still challenging.
The best thing to do is to try to explain in the simplest way so that persons can understand. For example, when I'm dealing with persons who I don't know, I don't take it for granted that they know everything. I just make sure to explain to them in the simplest possible way so that they will understand. And if we should all take that route, then it would eliminate the barrier that is, as it relates to how to communicate with persons who are autistic.
I mean, that is, yeah, as I say, explain in simple ways. Other times you have to elaborate on those things. I mean, for me personally, which way, I'll just go the length of the road because I don't want it in a simple way or a small way, and they see, this misinterpretation somewhere. I know I have to elaborate. There are times I will try to, okay, let me just make it small and not try to let it out. And there are times I have to elaborate a little more. And
the best thing to do really is just to make it as simple as possible. Understand, make it simple enough so that the person will be able to understand exactly what you're saying and exactly what you mean. That will eliminate the misunderstanding that persons may have.
I mean, I was at Money College for 5 years as a student, and I kept hearing the same excuse about, persons don't understand so and so, and I'll be around, and I'll be like, and then after a while, when there's always saying persons don't understand the ignorant, and pick up the Miss Brown, and Counselor Miss Brown will do the same. I'll be like, at some point, I try to be like, okay, I get it. It's going to take a little while than usual. So I realized, okay. Like,
some things do take a little while because persons normally think that everybody's in a fast lane, so they can just say whatever they want and just move ahead, but it's not like that, In every class, I mean, ever since I started teaching, I have never had a class where all the students are at the same level. We always have at least 5 or so levels of, the children at different levels. So it is for a teacher, as it relates to a classroom, to know that, one size cannot fit all. When you are given instruction, you cannot just say it one time or use one way of saying it for everybody. Because there are some persons you will have to say it 2 times, 3 times for them to understand exactly what you're saying. So, dealing with autistic person needs to understand that communication is one of the big things, and that's where the big barrier is. How do you communicate to them? Do you just take things for granted, or do you check to find out at what stage they are at? That says to you the gap in the spectrum is very wide, and there are persons along the spectrum going across, so it all depends on where the person is.
Yeah, as I said, we communicate matters a lot of the times. The OT person realize this, maybe I should figure it out, most persons don't. And then, person may think, I'll be like, well, if I'm saying, well, I prefer it this way, but then, some person with this attitude of, even though they won't say alright, but I have this attitude, I'm just going to say, however, if you catch it, good, if you don't, oh well. And it causes miscommunication, then you wonder why. I'll be like, well, you can't blame me, because if I'm telling you, that's as man, I'll be like, I could explain it in simple or in details. If a person don't want it, if not willing to understand, then communication, that's what doesn't matter. Because, well, communication should matter, but what I'm saying it doesn't is because if and then after a while I got to a point where I was like, where I keep hearing the same excuses over and over, I'll be like, well, I guess I'm the problem then, because it's like, instead of blaming other people, I just blame myself, because it's like...
And that's not a good thing for you to do. Because if you keep on blaming yourself, then you will always be there excusing others for the ignorance. And that's not your fault. So you cannot say if they are not understanding, then it has to be you. That's not how it is. The mere fact that you know that whatever you are doing, you are doing it the right way, then, at times you look and you will just excuse the person, but never you blame yourself, because what you're doing is that you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself. By putting pressure on yourself, it will cause you to communicate less to persons, and then you may have some missed opportunities, where you could be there excelling and because of the lack of communication or the doubt that may come, because you may say, I'm not going to go to Mrs. X because she's going to treat me just like how Mr. Y did. Never you do that.
I mean, there are other times where I'm like, maybe I should communicate less. Back in the days, I didn't mind communicate if I have a problem with something. Because in primary school, I was willing to communicate. If I'm being teased, I would communicate. Say, Mister, hey, this person is doing this. I will let it be known. But because because I was being excessive with it, then person, maybe kind of chance, maybe like, okay, maybe I shouldn't just not communicate at all. It's when you get told you're miserable. I'm like, from that, and you can't say something like that, or you're sensitive, or you're not taking this personal. You keep hearing that constantly in your head. When you're trying to explain it, then of course you're going to want to communicate less. But then, what that does, you do not only I'm doing that person, I'm doing myself a disservice by communicating less. Because then, when I don't communicate at all, then no one's going to issues, and the person may tell them, hey, like, why didn't you tell me so and so? I'm probably, the most likely my answer will be like, well, what do you want me to do? I was like, I would say this, try to make the artistic person's life a little easier, because they always have it hard to begin with. So the last thing, especially communication specific and other stuff, but we're talking about communication, so when they communicate to you and you make it life hard to learn, and they always have, some of them may have discouraging moments where you tend to communicate and you make life hard. What do you think they're going to do? Is they're going to make excuses and say, well, they'll be like, well, this is why I didn't want to do this in the first place, because, and all those stuff.
So I guess one of the things that we need to do is that we need to listen more. Listen more, be more caring, be more considerate. Extend ourselves a little more to others. And when we do so, we'll make life easier for, the other person who, is there trying to reach out, to try to get the point across. But if we are so busy doing other things and not making time, then we'll not be able to understand the individual. As it is with everything, if you want to, in every relationship, whether mother, father, husband, wife, whatever relationship there may be, if there is not much communication, then it is not going to reach anywhere at all. So what we need to do is that we need to, as I said before, be more educated, and then, try to extend ourselves some more, be more patient, and, if we do things like these, then, we'll make the playing field a little, it will be level for everyone who has to work on it.
I mean, a lot of times the issue I have is person, I always heard when you grow up, well, if you have a problem, speak up, which I have no problem with. I think that's a good advice. If you have an issue, speak up and all those things. Okay, great. But then you actually do that, and then, like I said, and then you get to
the person might say that you talk too much or you complain too much and all of these things. It happens.
And then you're like,
it happens.
Why would you ask me to speak up if you're going to act this way? It's like, I don't mind doing it, because personally, well, you do a person, all they need is this and they'll be good. Some person, all they need is so and so, they'll be fine. Persons like myself or others who are that may need all the above, the attention, the direction, because life can be very confusing and unbearable. And all the above, you can think of the direction, where to go about how to navigate this life, because it's not easy to do. You guys know they don't have it easy. Persons who aren't that may not have it easy either, per se, but at the same time, communicating and interacting can be frustrating a lot of the times, because if anybody knows me, I could have easily to be like, you know what, I'm just going to isolate myself from y'all. This is ridiculous. Because it's like, I'm trying to do X, Y, and Z, and you're making it difficult. I'm going to ask myself, and then if I do that, then they might complain about that too. Then so it's like about why am I doing this? Why am I not interacting? But when you actually try to interact, and then it's still difficult. So it's like where to go with it. It's like the only way to not get hurt constantly by whatever.
But at times you have to assess the situation Yes, you're not going to just run into persons like that because they're persons who are very, very selfish. There are some persons who they don't really consider anybody, very much inconsiderate. So if you assess the situation and you will see, but there are times too when you may see someone and you may think that that person is very selfish. When that is not so, that person is just waiting on someone to really, come and interact with him or her. So as it relates to life, there are things that we call trial and error. I think times you have to just try something, try to see if it works. If it doesn't work, then you just back off and say, well, it's not going to work, because not everything will work. And please note that the word no is a word. So not everything that you ask somebody to do or ask somebody for, they are going to tell you yes. If they say no, it is an answer. So when somebody tells you no, it all depends on what you do with that no. Do you take that no and cause it to seem as if they have thrown you out through the window? No is an answer too. So it all depends on how you see it.
I mean,
how you react to persons when they do respond to you.
I mean, no answer can be mixed feelings, but as I say, it depends on how you take the answer. I've learned to realize, okay, yeah, say no for your answer. As I said, just because a person said no doesn't mean
that they're against you.
It's just that maybe it depends on the moments and the timing of the moments as well, will may lead them to the answer yes or no in the first place each. So that there are a lot of factors. Knowing when to do this, when to do that, and knowing when to communicate, when to dial it back a little bit and be patient until you communicate again, and knowing all these things. And the answer no is not even most some persons may take no as a negative, and how you take no as a matters.
Yeah. So but please know that it is an answer too. So not everything you're gonna get positive answer too. But it all depends on how you deal with it. Alright?
Yeah, I try not to force it if it seems okay. And just take it to the chin, which again tough to do, but it just depends on your mindset towards certain things too, whether you get rejected or you take no for answer, or if you make a mindset I'm going to take it to the chin, then if it does hit you, it won't bother you much because you're like, and you believe you can bounce back from the answer no, then you can, you just have to leave it and all that. You have a favorite scripture?
Yes, I love the one that says, I can do all things. It's Philippians 4?
Yeah, verse 13, yeah.
Right, I can do all things. And I love that through Christ who strengthens me. And I like it because there are times when we do limit ourselves and say that we can't do it. But if we trust the Lord, once we put our trust in Him, then there are some things that we'll not think that we could do, but we realize that once we trust Him, then we will go through and do whatever it is that we are supposed to do. Because there are certain things that we were created to do. It's not like what I told you earlier in part 1, that I did not choose teaching. Teaching chose me, because when I was going to school and all of that, I would be called on to do markings and all of that, to go to a smaller class, and all along I was doing these things. I didn't even realize I was gearing towards me being a teacher. But yes, that's I love that verse very much. Yeah, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens.
Yeah, that's my all-time favorite scripture. In fact, that scripture helped me out in ways it's not even funny, where I get discouraged a lot even to this day, and I remember it in my head. So it's like, no, you can do all things. Like I said, the part one, I do all things I'm doing now. I didn't believe I could do it at first until I actually did it. And when I did them, that type of scripture is very powerful. Where you can believe you can actually do anything you put your mind into, especially with God's help and all those things. So I've learned not to, as I said, limit yourself, believe you can do otherwise. And though it's easy to do, especially but if you have done them, then yeah, those will come in, no doubt about it, because that things will happen, but those are words of God. So yeah, okay, this is the end of this Detroit session.
Because I should say, I really, enjoyed being on your channel, to have a discussion, to deal with these issues and to give my point of view. And, I see you going places, by, questioning persons, getting their point of view and all of that. So keep on doing what you're doing. You are doing a very wonderful job, and I'll continue to support you in whatever you do.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I mean, having persons, or even have the courage to say, hey, just come on here to do this with me. It's not easy for me to this. It takes a lot of courage for me to say, okay, hey, can you come on my channel and have a talk about whatever topics I want to talk about my channel and all these things. It's never easy in general. Well, it wasn't easy for me to even. I didn't even imagine starting YouTube until I did the second really interview, and then a person told me I sound like a motivational speaker, and I was like, what? And then I'm like, okay, let me try this motivating speaking out.
Right.
With my talking challenges and communicating, and the person telling me that's genuine sex, so it's like, yeah, I mean, I really appreciate you coming on here to do this with me and everything, so hopefully, I guess. But I do have, hopefully I can do this internet session with others consistently. Like I said, it's not easy because persons are busy bees, but once they do learn, person make the time for whatever, so if so from that, a person never too busy, no matter what they do, whether it's principal, police, nursing, or it doesn't matter what job it is, if they want to make time for a particular thing, then yeah. So, like I said, not easy done, but I can just try to be positive with this. I believe I can do this this talk with others consistently as I go along with it. Yeah, so guys, this is my video. Hopefully you guys enjoy the rest of the evening and Sunday, and hopefully you have a productive week and all those things. So may have a couple of videos during the upcoming week to do, so stay tuned for those videos. So yeah, remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel and click on the notification for upcoming videos.